it always feels surreal in some ways. But I'm just, again, amazed at Instagram. It has been an incredible, kind of one of those things where I was on Instagram, but how did I really leverage it for business? It kind of reminds me, frankly, of when I started with Twitter. I just didn't get Twitter, and I was like, okay, how can I use this for business? So Instagram is a little bit different in that it's only a mobile app. I mean, you can do some things through the website, but you can't post your photos or anything unless it's through the mobile app. So, for those of you who are just getting started, in fact, let's take a quick poll and find out where everyone is as it relates to Instagram. Terry, do you have that poll handy?
Okay. Yeah, I do. It's up right now, Kim, and we have hundreds of people voting as we speak. And really what we're trying to do is believe it or not, we actually adjust these webinars on the fly based on where the audience is. So what we want to know is, how active are you on Instagram right now? The answers are, I'm on Instagram multiple times daily. I occasionally use Instagram. I have an account but rarely use it. And then I am not currently on Instagram. So let's take about another 20 seconds here. Oh, wow, a quick voting audience. I appreciate that. We already have 78% of the people voted, Kim, and here are the results. 37% of the people on the call right now are on Instagram multiple times daily. 26% use it occasionally. We have 19% who have an account but rarely use it, and 18% of the people on the call do not have an Instagram account.
Okay, well, to those of you who are using it frequently, awesome. So those who aren't using it quite as frequently but have an account, and all the way to those who don't have an account yet. My hope is, one, that I convince you that you need to be more active there or get an account because I think Instagram does hold a lot of business value to us. And so let's just take a quick moment and look at why Instagram before we really, dig into the meat of the webinar. There's 30 million reasons to be on Instagram. That's really the rough count. The latest stat that Instagram released was that they had 30 million users on Instagram. It's projected to hit 420 by the end of 2015. That's just the end of this year. In fact, that's literally just about 6 months away. So 75 million daily users, 200 million monthly active users, and users are 6 times more active on Instagram than they are on Facebook. And I would be a testament to that. I'm going to share my story with you in just a moment. But every day on Instagram, there is 2.5 billion likes. 43% of brands post at least 2 times a day because they're seeing such incredible response. There's still obviously a huge chunk that are not there, but they're coming more and more and getting on board with Instagram more and more every day. But 70 million photos are added each and every day. Incredible how much content is being shared on Instagram. And as I said, engagement is through the roof. And this, of course, is one example. Oreo posted on Twitter, then they posted the same photo on Instagram, and look at the engagement, the interactions. 11,500 roughly on Instagram versus 517 interactions on Twitter. Obviously, I have way more fans on my Facebook page, so I could post a photo on Facebook and maybe get 500 to 600 likes, comments, shares, etc. I could post that same photo on Instagram with a roughly 20,000, a very small fraction of the fan base that I have on Facebook, and I can get 200 to 300 engagements on that same piece of content with way less followers than I have fans on Facebook. So the engagement is amazingly more than you're going to get on a lot of the other social platforms. Just give you some quick stats. 40% more likely to engage with brands that post pictures versus any other type of media. So again, people are more likely to engage with photos than they are any other type of content. 15 times greater than Facebook and 20 times greater than Twitter. So it's, again, amazing stats. 3 billion internet users out there today. And guess what, guys? There's only 17% of those people on Instagram. And, I said this earlier, but, it's projected to hit 420 million folks by the end of 2015, 75 million daily users that are active. And guess what? Look at this, guys. Only 28% of marketers are on Instagram. Anybody seeing a great opportunity here? If we had gotten on been an early adopter to pretty much any social media platform, there's incredible space and room to do amazing things in our businesses, and yet so often we don't seize those opportunities. And so I think Instagram is absolutely one of those places where it is not saturated. It's just beginning to start to shift towards business. They're doing, starting to do some sponsored pieces of content, etc., on Instagram. So it's just now beginning to really warm up to us as business owners. And I think we need to be there. I think there's a huge opportunity for us. So things that you're going to learn tonight are what you need to do to stop, what you need to stop doing that is holding you back from attracting more followers to your accounts. How to set up kick-butt profiles so that people can't wait to follow you. Quick and easy strategies that are working right now to attract your first 1,000 followers. And how to move your Instagram followers to your Facebook page, or even to Twitter for that matter, but more specifically to your website. How can you move your Instagram followers to your website? Because I think that's primarily the focus should be. Our primary focus is getting them to a more robust place that we can drive sales. And how to find and use hashtags to attract your ideal customer. Hashtags are the bomb on Instagram. So we're going to talk quite a bit about hashtags tonight. And then 3 ninja marketing tips that not many know that you can implement right now. And then my top 5 Instagram apps and tools to kind of fast track you to some Instagram success. I'm a big tools fan. I think that social media is, can be much easier if you have the right tools. So before we really, again, get into this, I want to give you a little bit of a teaser. If you stay until the end, I have a little bit of a surprise for you. I want to offer up one of my most valuable products at a 98% discount. Yes, I said that right, 98% discount. So hang out and stay with us and hear what that's all about. Okay, but let's get started on the actual content tonight. What makes this webinar so different from some of the others? Sometimes you get on a webinar and you're not quite sure if this is for you. It's either too advanced or it's too basic. From what I heard when we did the poll, everybody is still kind of learning and trying to figure it out for the most part. So I'm pretty sure that everything that I share tonight is going to have some value to every one of you. I think we have a wide range of knowledge that I'm going to share, and hopefully, even if you feel like you're a little bit more advanced, you'll pick up something that you didn't know before. And honestly, you get to cheat and learn from my mistakes and successes. I have definitely made mistakes on Instagram. Most of those were simply, probably my biggest mistake, frankly, was just simply not paying enough attention to it. And need to stop doing that is holding you back from attracting more followers. Let's start with that. I see this quite frequently, honestly, guys. And if you're going to conduct business on Instagram, I think you need to be cognizant of how you set up your account. And I see so many people that have private profiles. So private profiles don't limit your ability to use Instagram, other than only the people who can see your content are those that you approve to see your content. So the pros obviously are, the biggest value add is that you maintain your privacy. No one can see your content unless you approve them as a follower. And this is especially important if you make use of the geo-targeting feature that tags your photos with a specific location. Someone maybe with nefarious purposes could discover a lot about your patterns, where you are at various times, etc. But people can still find you, see your profile picture, how many followers and photos you have, etc. But a private profile can be a serious deterrent that will keep people from following you because they have to go through a screening process. They basically you have to approve them before they can see your content. So how are they going to know whether or not they really want to be a follower of yours if they can't see your content? So if you're attempting to attract the right customers on Instagram, your efforts are going to be really hampered if you have, if you set your account to a private account. If you really want to be successful, in my opinion, on Instagram as a business owner, you have to hang out the open sign. Hey, we're open and we want to connect with you. Come on in. That's such a different feeling than that closed door where you have to get approval to see someone's content. I mean, think about it. If you were to go to a store today, a brick and mortar store, and you go to the door and all of the windows are blacked out and you can't see what's in there, would you really want to knock and say, hey, can I come in? It's just the way it is. So on the other hand, if you want to share photos with friends and family and you're really more concerned about who's on your follower list and who's seeing that content, then just set up a personal account that you can share content with just your friends and family. But if you're really serious about using Instagram for business, I highly recommend making your profile public so that you can attract your ideal customers to you. Okay, let's talk about how to set up a kick butt profile so that people can't wait to follow you. And this is really important. When people are checking you out, that's the first thing they see is that bio. You want to customize the profile for Instagram. And I'm really a firm believer in this. Lots of times, people will, not even have a bio. And that's usually an absolute no-no for me. I'm like, if I see somebody who hasn't filled out their bio, that kind of signals to me that they're not serious about their Instagram account. So make sure that you absolutely leverage this space. It's real estate for you. And I personally think you should customize it specifically for Instagram, meaning, sometimes we copy our bios from Twitter or, Facebook or somewhere else, Twitter usually. And just copy and paste it there. I would suggest that you, again, come up with something that's very unique and is specific to Instagram. I think your photo needs to be a photo of you, smiling face, not a photo of your dog, not a photo of your cat. It's not that your dog or your cat's not awesome. It's just that people want to connect with people today. You could also use a logo if if you've branded your business as a business name. But again, I think people connect with people more so than even a logo today. And then our name is really, really big. You only have 30 characters for your namespace. So your name needs to be your name, whether it's the name of your business or your actual name. The name people see on Facebook needs to be branded to you or your business. I see a lot of people using funny spellings or odd words or unnecessary abbreviations or just some variation of their name. Sometimes I see people do first name, the name of the business that they're, promoting, and, maybe a last name. That's a turnoff, I think, for people. So just use your name. It's your business and your brand. So make sure you're representing this. You're not trying to build or get exposure for somebody else's brand. In other words, if you're in the direct sales space, I'll use that as an example. Or I see a lot of times people will put, that particular direct sales company in their name. I would just encourage you not to do that. Just be who you are and represent you, because they're going to buy from you more so. That's who they connect with. But you can even take it a step further. Do you have a specialty? Is there something that you provide? Are you known for something in particular? Do you have a specific job title or industry niche? You can include this detail in your namespace. And I'm going to show you an example of that in just a moment. Your name and your username are the only fields that Instagram considers in search queries. So if there's a keyword or a niche that you want to be able to be found under, then you want to make sure you include this in your name. It's going to increase your chances of being found. For example, I have my name is listed as Kim Garst, and I have social media in there as well. This is a great example. Peg has hers set up to where you see her name, and then of course she has social media author. So if you were to go to Instagram right now and type in social media author, Peg's account would show up. So I get a lot of people ask me, how do you get those clever little doomajiggies, Kim? They're called emojis. And all Apple iOS phones come with them. But if you have an Android, I'm just going to throw out one app that I know of that's highly recommended. That's the Cool Symbols Emoji Emoticon app. So I'll repeat that, Cool Symbols Emoji Emoticon app. So if you do have an Android, that's a great one to check out. But I hope you're looking at your screen right now because this is really a great tip. So what do you do and or what problem do you solve is a really, really great part of your bio. I see, again, so many people who don't step into this space. They don't, they either don't have anything in their bio or they really don't tell people anything about who they are and what problem they solve. So let me share with you an example of what I mean by this. Jay Baer has a great bio, I thought, when I was taking a look and trying to find some examples. He says exactly what he does. He's an inspirational marketing speaker and strategist. Now, the only thing that he really doesn't say so much is what problem he solves directly, but he does say strategist. So that would denote that, that if you need, some strategy as it relates to, selling or social media, then, that would be somebody that you would be connecting to. And absolutely, all costs, you want to be relatable, guys. Be human. I see so many people who kind of are stuck in the, oh my goodness, let's be business-like. We can't be anything but. We can't showcase our personality because, AKA, or quote unquote, we're business people. When the reality is people are going to connect with you around, something that's relatable or something that's personable much quicker on social media than they are around your product or service. So an example of this is this gentleman, Rylan Jones. He's a fitness expert. He showcases in his bio, he's a lover of all things bacon. I would be willing to bet you that a lot of people, connect with him around this. Other people who love bacon, for example. I know for myself, I have a little personal piece about myself in my bio. Love God, family, and hockey. And it's stunning how many people actually connect around these things with me. Whether they're faith-based or whether they're hockey fans. A lot of people will connect with me around the hockey piece. In fact, if you were on the call when we first started, I was chatting it up about hockey. Huge hockey fan here. Let's talk about keywords real quick. Now, keywords are treated a bit differently on Instagram than any other social media platforms because they're not searchable. So you might say, well, why do we even bother with them? Well, because people are used to connecting around keywords. They look at bios and they see if you are someone that has value based on how succinctly you share who you are and what you do, right? So while you're on, while you're trying to figure out what your bio is going to say, let me mention briefly that I see a lot of people using hashtags in their bio, and there's absolutely no value in this. They aren't clickable or searchable and simply clutter up your bio, in my opinion. So keep it clean and use keywords that your target customers are going to be searching for you for, even though they're not clickable, but there's still key phrases that they key in on. It's like it's kind of like a memory map, I guess, is the best way to describe it. And they can quickly see who you are and what you have to offer because, again, they're used to that keyword gauging and finding quickly being able to scope somebody's bio out and see if they are worth following, essentially. And then use a website link. Again, there is one place, guys, currently on Instagram where you could drive traffic. Now you can tell people, in your description as you're putting things on Instagram, what you want them to do. But from a clickable standpoint, there is really only one place that you can drive, literally let people click and go somewhere else, and that is in your bio. So make sure that you have a link in your bio. Now this can be changed out frequently. I change mine out quite frequently. Sometimes I'm sharing blog content, so I'll have my website /blog up there. Sometimes in fact today, right now, if you go look, you'll see that I have a link to this webinar there where I've been sharing the webinar link and having people go and sign up. So use this space. It is literally the only place that you have that you can drive people to another place. And then looking good is half the battle. If you've ever been on one of my webinars, I'm always using this saying. It is absolutely important. You know, we talked about emojis before, but I think the emojis give a lot of personality to your profile. It certainly snazzes it up, as I say. So definitely use them. And I would use your note app or Word to craft your bio. Because when you try to do this on your phone directly, sometimes you don't, it's difficult to see. Or if you're trying to do it on Instagram.com on your actual computer, you can't use emojis. So use the Note app or Word to craft your bio. You can also use an email client, frankly. That's another little tip that I'll go over again in just a moment. But use the return. If you want to add space inside of your bio, use the return to add that space. I get that question quite a bit. How do you get that space in there? How do you go to a new line? And you cannot do this from within the Instagram app. So that's why I'm saying use the Note app or Word or even your email. Try to basically act like you're going to send an email to someone. Craft it there, and then copy it and into Instagram. That's the best way to do it. And like I say, cut and paste it into the Instagram app. Okay, so that's the bio kind of covered. I think that covered all the big points. You can take a look at several, like my bio. I'm trying to think of a couple of people that I know have done great bios. Subi Zimmerman is another one that has a great bio. She uses emojis very well. I think, obviously Peg Fitzpatrick's got a great bio. So take a look at their bios, guys, and kind of emulate and see what they're doing. Emojis, absolutely use them. Make sure you have a website link. Those are, I think, critical pieces for your bio. Okay, let's talk about some quick and easy strategies that are working right now to attract your first 1,000 followers. And just quickly, we won't do a poll necessarily, but let's just do in the comments. Tell me how many people already are over the 1,000 mark, or most of you under. Okay. So we have some no's. Most are not there. Great. Okay, great. Awesome. I see a few that are over 1,000, but most of you guys, in fact, I would say 90% of you guys are still not at the 1,000 mark. So awesome. Hopefully this will help. And even if you are over 1,000, these are strategies that you can leverage across the board. So I'm excited to share them with you. We just talked about your bio and how important it is. This is really where people discover, who you are and what you do, and more specifically and more importantly, how you can solve a pain point for them. So you want to make sure that you tell them what you do and how it can help them, and include a link to your bio to your website or a landing page. And I mentioned this earlier, but you absolutely want to be worth following. So you have to show up and have a great bio. It's the first piece. It's the first measuring stick when somebody's taking a look at you as to whether or not they want to follow you. If you don't have a great bio, you're going to deem yourself right out the gate. So hashtag be worth following. And number two, posting times do matter. Statistically, the best time supposedly is Wednesdays between 5 to 6 p.m. And this is this was a study done by Simply Measured, and they came out with this particular piece of information through a lot of different types of accounts and a lot of different scenarios that they ran. They said the best time was Wednesdays between 5 and 6. But I just like to say that, based on the way I think people use Instagram, I know a lot of users, they log in when they have some extra time, like first thing in the morning or on their way home from work or school, hopefully not while they're driving, but late evenings or on the weekends. But always, always, always test to see when you get the most engagement. Everybody can give best case scenarios for everything. Absolutely test that Wednesday and see if that's your hot spot. But I think all of us as business owners have to test and see what our community is going to, how our community engages, and when it is supposed to be bad. I find that early mornings and late at night actually work really well for me. Post photos that people can relate to. You know, I see a lot of people, you know, sharing content on Instagram that really has no relation whatsoever to their business. And that's okay. Don't get me wrong. I do that too. And I think you absolutely need to share the personal as well as the business. But you also have to weave in your marketing message. So, you know, if you take a look, I just encourage you to take a look at some of the most popular Instagram accounts out there. They really have one thing in common. They all share content that is relatable to their audience. Take a look at just the first one that comes to mind is Starbucks. Starbucks does a phenomenal job with relatable content. You know, they post things that people, you know, like sometimes they'll post a cup of coffee, or they'll share a photo of people just sitting around drinking coffee. It evokes emotion. And I just think that, you know, that's the missing piece for so many business owners, is that we just don't have a strategy for our Instagram account. And I think it absolutely has to incorporate the business aspect, or we're missing the point. And, you know, using trending hashtags is really important. I said this before, but hashtags are the bomb on Instagram, probably way more so than even Twitter. You know, they started on Twitter, but you can't use as many hashtags on Twitter as you can on Instagram. So using hashtags basically allow people outside of your current pool of followers to find and follow you. But I think the trick really is in finding those relevant hashtags, so that you know what people are looking for, but that aren't so popular that your photos are going to get lost in the crowd. And I'm going to cover that a little bit more. And so hang on, we'll back up to that in just a minute. But connect your Facebook with your Instagram. I think that's also a great way to, you know, bring your Facebook fans or Facebook followers, Facebook friends over to your Instagram account. So once you've linked them, you can easily cross-promote your accounts too, because you can share your Instagram content on your Facebook account. So definitely connect those two. You can actually connect either your Facebook page, you know, your business page on Facebook, or your personal profile. So that's a nice little benefit. And then I love this. This is actually a real study that Neil Patel did from QuickSprout. He said, you know, when you like other people's photos, it's the best way to get new Instagram followers. He did a little experiment actually, where he liked some random photo. He liked some random photos, and he basically found that for every 100 photos that he liked, he received 21.7 likes for his own photos and 6.1 more followers. Well, that's not a bad payoff, really, right? I mean, so I would definitely incorporate this into your strategy, but I would do it in an organized way. In other words, find people that are your ideal client or your ideal customer, your ideal prospect, and, you know, like their photos, and, you know, maybe comment on them so that you get in front of them. And instead of just randomly out there, you know, kind of like just, you know, saying, okay, let me see who I can, you know, like, whose photos I can like. Make sure you come at this with a strategy, and, you know, go after folks that you feel like would be your ideal customers. Use other social platforms. You don't want to let your current fans, your followers and email subscribers, you want to let them know, you want to let them know that you're on Instagram. So, you know, you can use an Instagram badge on your website, or you can literally just mention it routinely, or inside of your newsletter. Let people know that you're on Instagram. One of my strategies for this is I routinely share that I'm on Instagram on my Twitter feed, for example. In fact, when I first got started on Instagram, that was my #1 strategy. That's how I got a ton of followers out the gate. It was simply because I was telling people on Twitter, hey, I was, you know, I'm over on Instagram, follow me there. So let people know that you're there, and from other social platforms, and build that community out in multiple places. It works. And then embed your Instagram photos on your blog. You know, sometimes I've seen some people do a great job with this. Excuse me. you can actually have, maybe you had a great example on your Instagram account for just as a quick aside. You could take that Instagram photo, embed it, and make it a part of a blog post. It's a great way to drive engagement and followers back over to your Instagram account. And so many people, this is what I find really amazing, probably more so than any of the other social platforms, is how responsive people on Instagram are. So if you leave a comment, for example, on Instagram, many times people will it's amazing. People respond. People talk back to you on Instagram. And I do this a lot. Even when people comment, sometimes I'll ask them a question, and try to further the conversation. But it starts with liking other people's photos. And then again, leaving that thoughtful comment, or trying to engage or ask a question. Even not only with the person who posted it, but even engage with people inside of the thread. It's amazing how much more engagement that I see on Instagram than a lot of the other social platforms. So definitely encourage you to, engage and leave those comments on people's photos. And then engage with your competitors' audience. Seek out other businesses inside of your niche. Follow their followers. That's a great way to start. For example, even comment and like their photos on Instagram, because again, it draws attention. They're more likely to follow you back. And it stands to reason, if your competitor is serving the same ideal customer that you are, then more than likely their followers are also your ideal customer. It makes sense. So definitely, follow your competition's followers, because you'll get a great quality follower more than likely. And then host a contest. People love to win stuff. It's just the way it is. So contests are a great way to gain some new followers and increase your engagement. What I've found is people actually tag other people, because they, just like the Instagram, tonight's Instagram webinar, I noticed that a lot of people would tag other people that they thought would get value from it. So when you do a contest, it's exactly the same thing. People love sharing it because, hey, they want someone that they know to win, or they want to win. So try contests, because they are a great way to drive more followers into your, or get more followers to your actual Instagram profile. Okay, so how to move your Instagram followers to your Facebook page or your website. Now this is probably really, really value-based for so many of you who may not know how necessarily to do this. So I'm hoping that you get a lot of value out of this section of the webinar. I just had to take a quick sip there, guys. Again, there's one place really that you can drive people from a clickable link, in other words, one place, and that's in your bio. And that bio always has to have a click somewhere. So like, for example, if you're posting a photo and you have to tell people what you want them to do. So if you want them, let's say you posted your latest blog post, you have to tell them, guys, click the link in my bio, and it'll take you to my blog site. Or you could actually link to that exact blog post. I have used both strategies very successfully, because frankly, even if it's my latest blog post that I'm sharing, if they go to kimgerst.com/blog, then that particular blog post is at the very top anyway. All they have to do is click on it. The alternative is that you could absolutely use the exact link and shorten it with Bitly. Many people are familiar with Bitly. Bitly is a link shortener for those of you who aren't familiar with it, and it's bitly.com. And basically you copy and paste your big long URL, and it'll spit out a short link for you. You can use this. People are very trusting of it, so it's not like you can click on it. But what's really neat about it is that you can customize it. So you can turn your link into bitly.com/Instagram webinar, or whatever it is that you're trying to market. Which I think is, again, it's trustable. People feel okay with clicking on it. Won't get pushback on that. It's kind of becoming industry standard. So as you can see here, I'm going to show you a classic example. I'm going to prove that I drove traffic from Instagram to my website, specifically to a landing page for this webinar. I posted an invite on my Instagram account 3 days ago, I think it was, 2 or 3 days back. And I got 142 likes on it. A lot of people again tagged friends and said, hey, why don't you check this out? But I got, at the time that I did the screenshot, I had 115 clicks on that. Now, I only use that bit.ly link inside of, and it is a custom bit.ly link. This is the only place I use that link. So I know for a fact that I drove traffic from Instagram to my landing page. And this is the value of using these bit.ly links, because you can track it. You can see, you know for a fact that you're actually, in other words, people are always saying, well, what's the ROI of social media? With the systems in place to where you can track, this is one method. This is just a really easy one. It's a bit.ly link. It works. Let me give you one other tip here that I bet not many people are familiar with. And frankly, I have not implemented this yet, but I'm getting ready to. I found this plugin. It's called PrettyLink Pro. It's a plugin for WordPress, and it basically enables you to create a short link, but it's personalized to your domain. And you can cloak it, track it, organize, share, and test. So you can do some A/B testing, for example. And it's all done within your WordPress platform. So, for example, I could have a link that says, kimgarst.com / webinar, or, whatever it is. I could maybe do a couple of them just to see which one would convert more clicks. And again, this is something that is specific to your domain, which is pretty cool. So I'm definitely going to incorporate this. Just haven't had time yet. Again, it just is that it's another branding element too. I think it'll be, you can shorten it, customize it, personalize it any way you want. And what I do, I want to give you just a quick tip on how I share my blog post. So I usually just copy the graphic from my blog, and sometimes I will, like this one in particular, literally all I did was copy it from my blog. You can create a separate graphic for Instagram, but I usually make sure I've included the title of the blog. So I copy it from my blog, then I do the copy. I actually open up my email client, and I write out what I want to say. Now, guys, I want you to notice something very specific here. I get a lot of questions on this. How to keep visitors on your site, obviously, is the blog title. And then I have a line. It separates that from the description of the blog itself. Then I have another line in blog title on my website and / blog. Now, how do I do that? Basically, it's just I open up my email client and I type it out. Then I email it to myself. I open that email up on my phone. I copy and paste it into Instagram. Is anybody getting an aha moment? I hope so. Because I get this question quite frequently. How do you do those lines? How do you make it look like that? I hope this is a value-based tip for you. Okay, good. I see some ahas there. Good. And then, last but not least, guys, how to get your followers over to Facebook. I'm going to give you a couple of tips on this. Simply ask. Lots of times I will put up, or occasionally, not lots, but occasionally I'll put up a graphic that says, hey, you just want to, let's connect on Facebook or even on Twitter. I've done this for both. I share a lot of great content daily on my fan page. Hope you'll join me over there. So don't hesitate to ask, but do so in a way that, makes it sound like there's a value proposition in it for them. Why should they follow you over on Facebook? So again, why should they? Give them a reason to connect with you over there. But one of the things that I found that works really great is I invite them to a conversation that's happening on Facebook or Twitter. I've done this across the board. Sometimes I've done this on Twitter. I've done it on Facebook if there's a conversation happening on Twitter. I cross leverage my platforms. So the other day I posted something on my Facebook fan page. Have you ever had a moment of, oh my goodness, why am I with this person on Facebook. It's just one of those relatability things. Who hasn't had that happen with them? You know, sometimes you see somebody that's made a comment, you're like, oh my gosh, why am I friends with this person? But it was amazing how much the responses were incredible, and it was just such a great conversation that I took the opportunity to invite my Instagram followers to jump into that conversation over on Facebook. So this works. I would highly encourage you to leverage this little tip. And then, you know, free offers are free offers, guys. People love free offers. They love to be able to get something that's value-based, and it's free. So I have my free offers, not all of them, but several of them, built out on landing pages on Facebook apps. So if you were to go, in fact, this is a graphic of just that. I have my 23 quick and easy ways to get more Twitter retweets on my Facebook page. So I will sometimes share a photo of that ebook on Instagram and say, hey guys, go over to my Facebook page, or I'll just leave the link and let people follow that link and come over to my Facebook page. Now I call this a twofer, in that you get an opt-in to your list. So if you're not building a list, please, please, please build a list. We'll not go into that tonight, but it's incredibly important. And you also, more than likely, will get a Facebook like on your fan page. So this is a great little kind of a double dipper strategy for you. Okay, let's talk about how to find and use hashtags to attract your ideal customer. And I know we've got so much to cover tonight, so I'm going to try to speed up just a little bit. Hashtags basically help you get discovered, and that's important. I mean, you want people outside of your community to be able to locate you and follow your hashtags even. So we're going to talk about some custom hashtags that you develop yourself in just a moment, but let's stick to just how to find popular hashtags. And I'm going to give you a couple of resources. Hashtagify.me/popular will give you a list of popular and trending hashtags. And then there's tophashtags.com/Instagram, and that's specific to just Instagram. You can actually search for Twitter and the other platforms as well. But going back to which hashtags should you use? There are basically two schools of thought on this. The first is that you should use hyper-popular hashtags that get searched for the most often, and these two resources will help you find those. The good part about using popular hashtags is that tons of people are searching for them. And the bad part, tons of people are searching for them. So in other words, because so many people are using them, it can be pretty difficult to get your content noticed. So the second strategy is to find extremely relevant and specific hashtags that will be more likely to net you targeted followers. In my opinion, both of these strategies work well, but you just have to kind of combine them and to get the best results. I think that's kind of my opinion. I think there's a value proposition in both. These are some of the most popular hashtags. Don't worry about, because this is a slide full of stuff, so don't try to copy all this stuff down. We'll actually list this on the replay page, because I know, again, there's a lot of content here, and but some of them that might surprise you, and there's something that you could do immediately is this Throwback Thursday. Throwback Thursday on Instagram is huge, and so I don't see a lot of people doing it. Some people do, but I don't see a lot of people from my follower base anyway doing it. Frankly, I haven't done it a whole lot, but it's just amazing to me that 332 million plus posts on the Throwback Thursday. So that would be something I just immediately picked out that I thought you guys could, again, immediately implement. Okay, so how many hashtags should you use? I get this question quite a lot. While some experts recommend using around 5 per image, some research says that about 11 kind of get the most engagement. That's, kind of the toss-up. My goal in this is to just kind of highlight something very specific. Don't overdo it. I see some people that are, literally they have this little bitty description of what their post is about or their photo is about, and then they have like this slew of of hashtags. So you may have too many hashtags if your post looks like this. So don't overdo it. But I would suggest starting off by using as many as you're comfortable with and then testing out more to see what works best for you and your business. But I'm going to give you a little bonus tip. Bonus tip here. Hashtags are kind of like SEO. So, when I was talking about, trying to find trending or popular hashtags, obviously, if you're in the weight loss space, for example, weight loss has tons and tons of posts, and people are absolutely searching for it. But like you say, I don't know if you can see this or not, but there's like over 13 million posts that have used the hashtag weight loss. Well, the chances of you standing out in that mass are going to be nil to none. Versus if you maybe scroll down a little bit in your feed and say, hey, look, weight loss tips. That's not so crowded, but yet it's still got a good chunk of posts. About 150,000 roughly folks or posts out there have used the hashtag weight loss tips. So that might actually be a great hashtag for you. So don't always go for the top of the pile hashtags. Find ones that have good traffic, but are not as competitive so that you can stand out. Okay, here's my 3 ninja marketing tips that not many know and that you can again do right now. These are things that literally you can take advantage of immediately. One of those things is that you can actually engage on the web. Lots of people don't know this. They think they have to open up their Instagram account and the app itself on their phone to be able to engage and talk to people. I know lots of people are not constantly on their phone, and so they either wait, until they have some spare time. Maybe they've posted that morning on Instagram and it's late that evening before they can get a chance to get back on their phone. The reality is you can actually open up Instagram.com/your username and you can engage right on the web. So I don't know if there's people out there that didn't know this, but frankly, I know there probably are because I've had many people tell me that they did not realize that they could do this. So, if you're sitting in front of your desktop all day long, for example, leverage this. Get on Instagram every once in a while and engage with people because that timeliness is important. If somebody's engaging with your content on Instagram and it takes you literally hours and hours before you respond, sometimes you lose that element of that personal engagement piece. And I actually did a Periscope this morning on this particular example or this particular ninja trick. And by the way, I don't know if anybody is using Periscope, but it's an amazing platform. Really excited about it. Who asked me, Kim, how do you get that little link in your bio or that little, underneath your name? How do you do that call to action? So if you are putting your photo up, if you'll notice, you go through the process, you load up your photo, and where the geotag is, you can actually click on that, and obviously when you click on it, it comes up with, if you have your GPS on, it'll come up with locations that are currently in your area. But you can actually start to type, and you can create your own. So for me, I did the little bomb thing because it's kind of goes along with our brand, with Boom Social. So I did the little the bomb, click the link in my bio. Now this is not a hyperlink, guys. So people can't click on this and go somewhere. It's a mock link, but it draws eyeballs. So you can absolutely use this space. Use it to, create your own calls to action. And again, use those emojis because it's an eye, it draws people's eyes to it. So this is a great, great tip. It works. So obviously this was one of the things I was getting ready to share. It was one of my blog posts. I'm telling people, guys, in order to get to my blog post, click on the link in my bio. This works. Definitely leverage this as quickly as you can. Give it a whirl and see if it doesn't work for you. And then create a hashtag that is specific to your business or product. Essentially, you're building a scrapbook of content that's specific to your business. So, this is a great way for customers or followers of your customers to find specific things based on certain types of content. For example, a shoe designer might create a hashtag using the name of the business and a particular collection or a particular style of shoe. A realtor could use his or her name and maybe specific areas of a city. I actually set up two specific hashtags for me. I mean, anybody can use these hashtags. They're not necessarily just mine. I don't own them necessarily. But when somebody goes to these particular hashtags, they are going to find my content. I'll share those with you in just a moment. But let me give you an example of a company that does this very well. Hashtags, if you're going to do a specific hashtag, make sure it's unique. You want to do a little bit of research around this and make sure someone else isn't using that exact hashtag, or, if it's specific to you, you want to make sure that that not a lot of people are using it, in other words. So, but it's again, a great way to categorize specific types of content so that people can find your content quickly and easily. And Camp Vibes does a great job Polar Stuff does a great job with this. They have a hashtag Camp Vibes. And when you go search for Camp Vibes, you'll find all of the content that's, kind of revolves around this particular hashtag for this company, for Polar Stuff. And I did one as well. I did one for my InstaTips. I did hashtag Kim InstaTip. And if you go to, in fact, today or this evening when you get through, I would encourage you to go over to Instagram and type in hashtag Kim InstaTip. And you'll see all my Instagram tips that I've created for Instagram, which, I think there's over 80 of them now. So definitely tap into that resource. There's a lot of tips there. And then I want to just quickly share my top 5 Instagram apps and tools. Now, there's a ton of them out there, but I just wanted to go over my 5 top ones that kind of I use probably most every day. And I want to fast track your Instagram success by sharing these with you. I use Iconosquare routinely, probably daily. It was formerly called Statagram. I always wrap my tongue around that word, but it's now Iconosquare. Lots of great tools and resources on Iconosquare. It allows you to see your Instagram feed. There's social analytics. There's tools for contests. You can also do your community management through Iconosquare. You know how I mentioned earlier, you could actually engage with people on Instagram.com. You can actually do that through Iconosquare as well. And then I use an app called Crowdfire. Have you ever wondered who's not following you back on Instagram, or who unfollowed you, or who blocked you? Well, Crowdfire tells you that. And so, if someone unfollows you, it's good to know that. Don't stress over it. Don't even worry about who unfollows you. It's the people who stay that's important. But you also don't want to take up that following space because you can follow somebody else, with that to fill that spot. So unless it's just somebody who has great content, usually if they're not following me, I unfollow them. So it's a way to kind of manage your Instagram account. So it also allows you to gain more followers. You can use this to copy other people's followers. It's a great little tool. So I encourage you to check it out. It is a phone app, so you'll want to download it to your phone. Sorry. Flipagram is another great resource. It allows you to create some really neat videos using your Instagram photos. You can set it to music, so you can have kind of like a flip show, but with music attached. And it's unusual. Not a ton of people are using it. Some do, but again, it's unique. It would give you an opportunity to show up and be fresh to your community. Definitely leverage Flipagram. At least check it out. It's a phone app as well. And then Schedulegram is kind of my go-to tool. We do schedule almost all of my content out using Schedulegram. Now, I do some stuff on the fly, but a lot of the content that I share on Instagram is pre-scheduled. And Schedulegram, it allows you to schedule forward. You can also, since it's so easy, I can create my my content, whatever I want to say, by simply copying it and pasting it directly in there because it's web-based and I don't have to go to my phone, for example. So it's a great little tool. Thought I would share it with you. And one of my favorites, though, my all-time favorites, frankly, is WordSwag. You can add awesome text that looks like this, literally, to your photos. It's a text overlay to existing photos. You can actually create content, original content as well with WordSwag because they have, photos that you can use. And if you want to create an inspirational quote, for example, you could grab one of their photos, overlay your text on top of it, and have an amazing piece of content to share on Instagram in literally minutes. So I can't say enough about WordSwag. If you're not using it, have never heard of it, and you have an iPhone, because unfortunately they do not have an Android version. I'm sorry, guys, for those of you who have Androids. Currently, to my knowledge, they don't have an Android version. But if you do have an iPhone, I promise you, it is worth, I think it's $2.99 to buy this app. It is worth every single penny and then some. Okay, so let's just wind this up. Successful small businesses do these things very well, guys. They share fun images as well as business stuff. They build relationships and community. They promote contests, deals, and specials. They showcase employees or team members. I always love those behind the scenes photos that people share with, on their Instagram accounts. Images are top notch and eye catching. I think that's incredibly important. Using hashtags, I can't stress enough how important hashtags are for Instagram in particular. And then they're human, they engage and they connect with people, and not just around their products and their services. They show up and they're a human being and they relate to people. And I think that's really, really critical. Like I said, when we first started, if you hung out to the end, I wanted to share something real quick with you guys. We have what we call the Social Selling Made Simple Inner Circle. And essentially, it's just about the selling side of social. We basically teach strategies to create how you leverage social to create sales for your business. That's kind of the focus of this group. And it's always better to kind of have other people tell you how amazing it is than me to tell you how amazing it is. So I just wanted to highlight a couple of testimonials that we had. Shelly is in our inner circle, and she was able to double her Twitter followers in 2 months, from 5,000 to over 10,000, and she's continuing to grow to this day. And Sonia is amazing. She's done some incredible things. She's turned her business into 5 figures a month, and she recently bought a Mercedes. It's just an incredible success story. Love her. She's doing amazing things. The Social Selling Made Simple Inner Circle, I'll just give you a quick highlight because I don't want to spend a whole lot of time on this, guys. I just want you to have an opportunity to see what it is and how it operates. This is what it looks like when you log in. When you join, you have a login. You'll be able to see the backside of it. All of our success templates are in here. So we have what we call mini courses. So many times we buy, as business owners, we buy all these full-blown courses and we never spend the time to implement them. So we're basically just nuggeting things down and giving training to you in a snackable way, to where you can actually say, okay, I have 2 hours that I can sit down and listen to this training, or maybe it's an hour, and then I can go out and do something with that information and see results with it. So that's our goal inside the Inner Circle, is to give you actionable, snackable things that you can implement without overwhelming you. And then we have Boom Time every week, where we do webinars, training webinars, again, around something very specific. This past week, we did email newsletters, how to create an email newsletter that people actually read. We've done, what's inside my social media toolbox. There's all kinds, landing page reviews. We do all kinds of things each and every week. The Straight from the Pros is where we bring in someone that has expertise in a specific area. We do this once a month. We just had Saeed Balki, who is amazing. He talked about how you grow your email list to 6 digits and beyond. We've had Melanie Dodaro, Ian Cleary, Ian's course was incredible as well. You know, he basically taught us how to get free traffic on Google. So again, all of this content is here and available. All of our ebooks, of course, are in here, quick and easy to find. But probably the most value to our inner circle, frankly, is the inner circle community, which is on Facebook. And this is where we basically, form a relationship with everyone. We create community. We support each other's businesses. We answer questions that are specific to your business, and we help you move forward. That's probably the greatest value proposition. The training's awesome, but guys, you can engage and connect with hundreds of other business owners inside of our inner circle through our community on Facebook. It's a great value proposition for you. And so what does all this cost, you probably are saying? And I said I was going to give you an incredible offer, and that is exactly what I'm going to do, guys. We want to make this easy, lemon squeezy. We want to offer you up a 2-week trial to anyone who has never been in our inner circle before. If you've never been a member of our inner circle, you can test us out, take us for a trial run, go through all of our trainings. Our bet is you're going to love us so much that you're going to stick around, obviously. But we want to give that to you for $1. And you, like I say, you can test us out, get some amazing training, become a social selling hero literally for $1. So in order to take advantage of this offer, because it's only going to be out there for 24 hours, it's the socialsellinginnercircle.net/special offer. Now I did highlight it's socialsellinginnercircle.net, not .com/special-offer. And that is it tonight, guys. So, Terry, you want to take some questions right quick?
Yes. Can you hear me?
I can, yes.
Okay, well, I stopped counting the total number of people making comments at 500.
Woo!
And I stopped counting the questions when I got to 100.
Whoa.
So we had 100 questions, and I'm going to try, I put them in a little clump, so I'm going to try to ask the ones that most people ask. The one big question is multiple accounts. People have 3 businesses, 4 businesses. They want to have a personal account and a business account. What's your opinion on having multiple Instagram accounts?
Well, I'm going to give you a couple of trains of thought on this. It's very hard to manage multiple accounts, as you probably are totally aware. For me, I have a personal brand. I'm kind of the face of the face of Boom Social. So we've, kept everything streamlined. I, share personal content. I show up and I'm just a human being kind of thing. I also share business content, try to give a lot of value to my community on Instagram. But if you want to keep your personal and your business separate, and you've done that, trying to do that with getting tongue twisted there. If you're trying to do that with a private account, then I would encourage you to definitely have 2 accounts. One that's your personal account that you just share things with friends and family, and then your public-facing account needs to be just that, public, your business account. If you are in multiple businesses, lots of times people will say, well, I need multiple Instagram accounts because, they don't have any tie-in. And if that's the way you have branded yourself, if you don't have that personal brand where you kind of bring everything in underneath you, then you're probably going to have to keep them separate. Now, with that said, there is a pretty good value proposition, especially right now, to having themed Instagram accounts. I'm seeing a lot of brands reaching out to Instagram account holders who have very specific types of content. In other words, they want to tap into audiences. Maybe maybe you're doing green smoothies. I'm just using that as an example, and that's all you do. So maybe there's a company out there, maybe a bite of I'm trying to think of the name of that blender company, but maybe it's a blender company. I'll just use the term blender company or a brand. They're going to want to get in front of your audience, so they may reach out to you and form some sort of a monetary relationship. So there is a lot of that going on right now. Hopefully that's answered that question. I tried to approach it from all the angles as I see it.
I think we got 12 answers out of your answers. So
Okay.
That was a lot of people asking that. The whole follow back thing, if you solicit people to follow you and you follow them back. The whole Twitter problem where people aren't following you. What's your opinion on that?
Well, usually if people do unfollow me, I unfollow them too, because I use that little crowd app that I was sharing with you. Unless it's just, somebody who just has great content, and I don't really care if they don't follow me or not. But I think it depends on how you want your content to show up. Lots of times, specifically when you're first getting started, the follow back thing helps you get a following base. So I think that's definitely a strategy. The problem with, getting a bunch of followers, that's one thing. When people are looking at your content, that is, that's great. But the flip side to that is, if you're also following a lot of people, then you're gonna see a lot of content that you may not want to see. But the reciprocal, that word's not going to come out. If somebody follows you, it's kind of like on Twitter, for example. I'm pretty pointed on this as it relates to Twitter, but I think Instagram's slightly different. On Twitter, I don't want to be that person who says I'm only interested in what I have to say, or what content I'm sharing. I want to be engaged with other people's content. So that's kind of how I have approached Instagram as well. Is that Oliver snoring?
Oh my God! Did you hear
I'm sorry, guys. I can hear Oliver snoring. It's Terry's dog.
He's a official team mascot. He's a little disabled French bulldog, so I apologize.
Oh, no apology. I just thought it was so cute. I'm like, is that Oliver? So my philosophy, frankly, is if people follow me, I try, and I feel like they're my ideal client, I follow them back. Now, you have a 7,500 window. I don't know if you guys know that on Instagram. You can only follow 7,500 people on Instagram before you get. Now, you can have more followers than 7,500. You just can't follow more than 7,500 currently. So you kind of have to pick and choose. And but I do want to engage with my community. I want to see other people's content. That's just me. So there's that thought process, or versus the other thought process is, you only want to see other people. So it's up to you guys.
I get 12 questions answered with the next one. Yes, this entire webinar is recorded. We had lots of comments of people saying, oh my gosh, I don't have any more note paper. This is just so much information. We'll just the answer is yes. In fact, we have our entire team tonight. And the second this is over, we're going to render it, clean it up, and hopefully get the replay out in the email to you. It's good if you signed up, because we're not going to put out the rest of social media. You won't find us anywhere unless you sign up for this All right. Okay, Kim. The next one is what do I post? It's kind of the content categories, mixing business, demonstrating personality. What's people they don't know where to start with that.
Well, I think the difference is, frankly, on Instagram versus some of the other social platforms is it is entirely visual. That graphic or whatever you share, whether it's a photo or a created graphic, that's kind of the difference. That's kind of the way I think of it. Photos, kind of the real in the moment type of event versus a created piece of content. We do a lot of created content simply because we share a lot of created content on other platforms too, and it's kind of a cross promotion or repurposing of the existing content thought process. But when I first started on Instagram, I did that very consciously to see if I could get engagement on that content on Instagram, and it has been hugely popular. So I do a mix, frankly, of the real stuff and then the created stuff. I'm going to go to more of a, real stuff. I want to try to start incorporating more of the, kind of the real, on the fly kind of content. But as it relates to what types of content, I think that's very dependent on your business. I see a lot of people who, own businesses and kind of show up and say they have a business, but really all you see on their, in their feed is the personal stuff. Now, I'm not knocking the personal stuff. Please, I am a big, big fan of sharing the personal side because I think people relate to humans on the personal side. But you still have to have your marketing message woven in. You have to be providing some value to people. So I'm a big proponent of, how do you show up and provide value to your community so that they will want to, engage with your content, one, but that you'll come top of mind to them when they need your product or service. So, in some cases that's tips. Sometimes it's, like, for example, I see a lot of people, that have visual content or visual products that they can showcase in a visual way. Of course, given recipes or, doing demos or, different types of things. So I think it depends on your business. Like for me, for example, I have digital products. How am I going to show up with digital products in with a photo kind of thing? So I've taken a different stance. I've basically used a lot of created content with some real thrown in. It just depends. It depends on your business, but it still has to be value-based. How can you? It can't always be. It can't always be personal. It can't always be a sales pitch. There has to be a happy medium.
Okay, you ready for this? Is my favorite question of all 100+ questions. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
This is like asking which child you like the best. If you had to pick one and only one, you can't have two, would you do Instagram or Pinterest?
Ooh, oh my goodness. I think I'd have to say Instagram, simply because I love Pinterest too, by the way, and I think it is an amazing traffic driver, probably more of a traffic driver, frankly, than Instagram is right now. I think Instagram is going to grow and evolve to where, there'll be more opportunities to move people or easier ways to move people to, landing pages or a website or, some other ways to, to get people to buy from us. But the reason that I would say Instagram is simply because it is the fastest growing social media network out there today. The demographics on Instagram are a little slightly different than they are on Pinterest. It's still, incidentally, most of the users, more women on Instagram than men. And I think the buying populace in 5 to 7 years is going to be millennials. And guess where they are, guys? They are on Instagram in droves. So those of us who, are in business and are selling things, I really, really think we need to be on the fastest growing social network out there where the majority of our buyers are ultimately going to be in the next 5 to 7 years. They're already there. Why not get established and start building our brand out there?
Okay, Liz wants to know, does Instagram in any way limit how many people can see your posts?
No, it's limited. Like I said, there is no limit to how many people can follow you. So right now there's no algorithm like there is on Facebook. That's another great, I'm really glad that this question came up. So, Instagram is not picking and choosing what pieces of our content gets into the feed. Everything that we post on Instagram gets into the feed. Now, granted, the feed is on one stream. You can't sort it. You can't put people on lists. All of those types of things. But at least they're not, saying, "Hey, we're just not going to show this piece of content." So everything that you put out on Instagram absolutely goes into the feed versus what we're seeing on Instagram right now, where Facebook is basically choosing based on this complex algorithm that nobody gets, which pieces of our content is actually going to get seen and by whom.
Okay, next question. I actually had 3 people ask. They either couldn't find their name's too common, their name's too long. So what solutions do you have for people trying to get usernames that maybe just Kim Garst is not available.
Okay. Well, that's actually a great question too. I would encourage you to try a couple of things. If this is a business account and you have a personal brand, for example, you could do a couple of things. You could use first and last name and maybe biz, like Kim Garst Biz, or something like that. That's one solution. One other idea for you is, use your middle initial. Lots of times people have common names, but their middle initial is different. So that might be another great option to get your name and still, be able to leverage your first and last name, but just throw your middle initial in there. That would be another idea for you.
Okay, we'll take a few more here. The people interested in the Android emoji app. I bet there were 10 people who asked what that was. We had Cool Symbols as one of them, and
let me go back. I think it was seeing if I can find that now. Guys, what I'll do, just to make this simple, is I will put the name of that app underneath the replay of this. So when you get the email, I'll make sure the name of that app is on the replay page. I think that'll be simpler.
Okay, that sounds great. We answered that one.
Awesome. I didn't know that, Marjorie. Thank you for sharing, or Margie, I'm sorry. Margie just said that the Android keyboard actually has an emoji already built in. I have never had an Android, so I was just going off of research I did. I didn't realize they had an emoji keyboard in it, so that's great to know. Thank you for sharing that.
Okay, what about any Instagram management tools, specifically to manage Instagram or multiple platforms, or do analytics or anything that helps you manage Instagram?
Well, the Crowdfire app actually lets you have multiple accounts in it. So definitely check, hang on, let me pull that up on my phone, make sure I'm using the right. Always look at it's so funny, you get used to just the icons on your phone and you don't always remember. So let me pull, it's funny because I have an entire folder on my phone labeled Instagram, but it's Crowdfire, and it does allow you to have multiple accounts in there, which is extremely convenient. From a management standpoint, though, like if you're talking about engaging with your audience, I love Iconosquare for that, just simply because you can log in. Unfortunately, you can't have multiple accounts in there, but you can see your feed, you can see all the comments, and you can respond, from your desktop. Okay.
Okay. A lot of people giving you credit for having some of the world's consistently best graphics. How do you do it?
Awesome. Well, guys, I do have a design background, and as the team here can attest, I'm a little bit anal about looking good on, showing up and have great graphics. It's kind of one of those things that I just really feel strongly about. And honestly, a lot of people ask this question, and it's not as difficult as one may think. We use a web-based tool called Canva.com. Probably until 6 or 7 months ago, when we really learned about Canva and started using it, we were still using Photoshop, because that was kind of what I learned on, and frankly, not a lot of small business owners have the skill sets to use Photoshop. So it was always one of those things I hesitated to try to tell small business owners, hey, you can do this, because I was unsure that they could. So I love sharing Canva now, simply because I know that anybody can use it. It's a very simple tool, and you can do amazing things with it. There is a free version, so if you're not familiar with it, I would definitely go and check it out. You can use, I think they have a pro version now. I think you have to actually apply for that or ask them to add you to that or something. There is a small charge for that. But their photos, even if you can use your own photos or you can use theirs, their photos are just like $1 a piece. Very affordable, even if you, again, use their photos. Okay, any more, Terry? Oh, I see. Word Dream. Hey, Shelly, I'm going to check that out. Thanks for adding that. There's so many apps out there, guys, especially from a visual content standpoint. There's all kinds of. In fact, Terry, what we should do is we should add that visual content ebook to the landing page.
Oh, perfect idea. There seems to be a lot of questions about that, so we'll do that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. All right. One more. I'll tell you what. One more big question. I think this is going to help a lot of people. So a lot of people are going to go watch this replay 3, 4, 5, 6 times. Most people are doing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different social media sites. Joanne Brown wants to know, how do you keep up? You're overwhelmed. What do you do? Should I quit everything and focus on one? Should I quit everything and focus on 2? We have a couple other people that say, what if I just did Facebook and Instagram and said, forget everything else? So you are commonly perceived as being the busiest person on the planet yourself. People think you literally are on social media 24 hours a day. So what's your advice for somebody who's trying to scale up but has resource issues?
Well, this is actually a great question. And, I did a quick podcast interview this morning with Nathan Latka, and he asked me, what was my best piece of advice for, if I could give myself a piece of advice, from 20 years ago, what would that piece of advice be? And that piece of advice is something I'm going to share with you guys tonight. It is to as soon as you possibly can, outsource, and don't be afraid to outsource. So if you're swamped and you're at that place where, you're a one woman, one man show and, you just can't keep up, then I would encourage you to look for some assistance. So that's one piece of advice I would really like to, sometimes we let fear get in our way, oh my goodness, I don't want to be responsible for having to pay somebody, or, I'm not sure I can quite afford it, but you cannot scale and you cannot grow if you don't build a team. So it's important, to recognize that. But, there are some things that you can do. Multi-purpose a lot of my content. So, lots of times like my blog content, I pull tips out of my blog content. I share the same graphic on Twitter. The same graphic on Facebook. I make my Facebook graphic and my Instagram graphic the same size, 900 by 900, so that I can share it in both places. So I repurpose a lot of my content. That's just a couple of quick ideas. But all that said, you're only one person. And if that's true and you're only one person, and you feel like you're spread too thin and you're not doing any of the social networks very well and you're not getting results from them, then I would encourage you to slow down and say, okay, what are my favorite ones? Where is my ideal client? And then focus on 1 or 2, 3 max, until you just excel there, until you're getting the results that you want there. Because if you're spread so thin, the reality is that you're doing none of them well. So slow down and just focus in on 1 or 2, 3 maybe, until you start really seeing the results that you're looking for, and then you can branch out. So that's kind of 3 or 4 pieces of advice layered into that question.
Okay, Kim. I'll make one final comment, and then we'll leave the final one to you. We're coming up right on 90 minutes. Several questions about the inner circle. You had that slide up pretty fast and then kind of gone, but there it is right now. And we've had several people sign up. Yes, it really is $1 for a 2-week trial. There's even a better deal. If you get in there and you don't think it's worth $1, then you'll get a refund. So, what we do is we earn your guys' business every day. So it's a lot of stuff, but it's digestible in small pieces, like Kim said. And then the Facebook group is the glue that holds it all together. Very active, where like Kim said, there's hundreds of business owners some at all different levels and lots of beginners, but just a great place to accelerate the learning curve on this stuff. So I'm going to follow up with the replay. As soon as Kim hits the sign off switch, our team goes to work. We should have the replay out in the next 90 minutes, and I'll make sure that this link is included.
Okay, awesome. Again, guys, we honor your time. Thank you so much for hanging out there with us, and hopefully you picked up some great nuggets that you can run out and start doing in your Instagram account. If you guys are not following me on Instagram, don't hesitate to please do, and then don't hesitate to reach out. I'm, like Terry said, I'm on all the social platforms, whether it's on Instagram or Facebook. Always try to engage with my community. So happy to answer any questions or connect with you on social. Guys, again, thank you. We'll see you later. Take care. God bless.